is Alex Chunet. I started working on the Global Development Assistance Programme in December 2021 as ESA representative to the World Bank, and then transitioned in mid-24 to another position in Rome within the long-term action section, and still being involved in broader GDA activities. I believe that those two positions gave me a very complementary view on the GDA program by being involved both in the daily operations and the liaison with the World Bank, and now actually managing and implementing the climate adaptation activity, and therefore having a higher level and a higher view on the program. I think that the role of ESA secondees, both within the World Bank and at the Asian Development Bank, are really crucial. It's really what allows us to run daily operations and ensure that each project is resulting in impact, and that what is being promised is actually being implemented. But it's also what allows us to engage more strategically with those institutions and provide them assistance and support on the integration of Earth observation within their strategy. The level of awareness was rather low, I would say, 20 years ago, but that's also very much linked to the fact that this industry and Earth observation was still emerging, in a sense. The technology has changed a lot, the availability of imagery has increased steeply, and now we've really seen an increase in the number of people at the World Bank and at the Asian Development Bank that start using those technologies, that are aware of them. And if we just look at numbers, when we analyze actually project documents at the World Bank, only 2% of project documents, and more specifically project information documents, were mentioning those technologies back in 2000, and now it's around 14%. So it shows that really there's been a mainstreaming of those technologies in the portfolio. When you deal with agriculture, you'll have a lot of agronomes. When you deal with trade, you'll have a lot of macroeconomists. When you deal with energy, you'll have a lot of engineers. And some of those communities have a bit more exposure and I would say ease in accessing and understanding what Earth observation is about. So we've been working with each of those communities. For some of them, it was really mind-blowing from the beginning. For others, they had heard about it, and it was more about bringing this idea to really a pragmatic implementation and the practical use of those technologies within the project. So there's been different paths, and we've been trying to accompany each of those communities in different ways with tailored support. With the sequence from EO World, then EO4SD and GDA, we've had to tackle first raising awareness, then tackling acceptance, and then now pushing adoption. And that's really what we've been trying to do with the Global Development Assistance Program. Really by pushing pre-operational applications that can be scaled up and coordinating this and complementing this with activities funded by the international financial institutions. And that's how really we can achieve sustainable adoption of these technologies. Now the reality is that depending on the sector and the communities, once again, the stage and I would say the maturity of those applications varies significantly. So it doesn't mean that we are not working on awareness anymore. It's just that we are pushing and really working and focusing on adoption, but with some communities, we're still very much working on the awareness and the acceptance angle. So the Global Development Assistance Program really allows our European industries to create a network within those institutions. We create linkages between the projects, the task team leader, the people managing those projects, and those industries so that they can start potentially working together. Now, what adds to this essentially is the coordinated and complementarity and the alignment that we really try to generate through the GDA program. What that means is essentially that when we engage, we try to link and mobilize complementary activities on the side of our partners. That ends up generating more procurements for them, and therefore it increases the pie of overall use and overall Earth observation procurements, which might come back to our industries. During the current implementation of the Global Development Assistance Program, we've of course faced a lot of challenges. Those challenges could be linked to the mismatch sometimes to the timelines of the projects and our own activities that we try to implement through the GDA, sometimes to the turnover within those partner institutions. And really, we have been thinking and brainstorming on how to tackle these issues, for example, by having more agility on the implementation of some of our activities, which gave birth to the GDA FFF activity. And I think that it is by being more agile and adapting more to the timelines and eventually the particularities of the project cycle within our partner institutions, and for example, the World Bank, that we'll be able to maximize the opportunities that come out of those engagements for our industries. In the background, we've also been working on different cross-cutting activities, and for example, we've been building a procurement tracker, which allows our industries to navigate the many procurements that come out every day and ensure that they can detect in due time the potential procurements that are linked to Earth observation. I think what is really at the heart of the Global Development Assistance Programme is its potential role as a catalyst and a facilitator, specifically on two angles. First, is in the position actually to build on and complement broader ISA activities, and that could be the case of the Copernicus Lab or the Copfield Center, where we're trying to build on GDA implemented activities and try to see how they could be made available or sustained through those different centers. On the other hand, the GDA program can also be used to facilitate the scale-up of R&D activities. That's exactly what we're trying to do by building on the ISA Send4Stat project that's been developed over several years and that we're currently taking to scale through GDA engagements by linking it to World Bank financing and ADB financing. There's a particular engagement that we've been implementing in support of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development in East Africa. And this is particularly focused on monitoring the damage of locust swarms and also identifying egg breeding areas, as well as potential impacts of droughts in the region. This example is particularly interesting in the sense that we've been building on several years of support through first EO4SD and now GDA, and now we're really achieving the adoption and really the mainstreaming of those tools within the institution through a new project component and a capacity building package that is going to be delivered through World Bank financing worth around $4 million. A second example is the engagement that we've had through the GDA climate resilience activity and the support that we've been providing to the South Sudan government on flood analytics. This has been a very successful one in the sense that we've first started developing and implementing flood risk analytics service for the government, and then the World Bank has mobilized additional and complementary activities to transfer some of those technologies and do capacity building in the country.